Two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe, or we are not. Both are equally terrifying. You know, the science fiction author Arthur C. Clarke said that. And honestly, when you really stop and think about the sheer weight of those words while staring up into a pitch-black night sky, that silence you hear, it's almost deafening. So let's dive right into this dark mystery. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we aren't dealing with science fiction, and we're not dealing with fantasy. We're treating the silent, expansive universe as, well, the ultimate unsolved case file. We're going to look directly at the hard astronomical data to answer what is arguably the most profound question of our existence. Are aliens real? First, we need to establish the scene of our mystery. And the scale here it's almost terrifying to comprehend. We live in an observable universe containing roughly 2 trillion galaxies. And our own neighborhood, the Milky Way, it's thought to contain at least 100 billion stars. Every single point of light out there is a sun. And exoplanet research actually shows us that the vast majority of those stars have at least one planet in orbit around them. Which brings us to this staggering figure, 20 sextillion. That is a 20 followed by 21 zeros. 20 billion trillion worlds. With 20 sextillion worlds out there in the dark, you have to ask yourself, is it really logical to believe that Earth is the absolute only one where the chemical spark of life ignited? I mean, the sheer mathematical odds make it incredibly unlikely that we are completely isolated. Now, when most of us hear the word alien, our minds immediately jump straight to Hollywood, right? Little green men or advanced humanoid visitors arriving in flying saucers. But the reality is far more grounded. Astrobiologists, who are essentially the scientific detectives of the cosmos, well, they aren't necessarily hunting for humanoids. Their primary suspects are actually microscopic organisms that are built for absolute ruthless survival. And to understand why, we really have to look at our own planet's case history. For the first 3 billion years of life's existence on Earth, absolutely everything was microscopic. Long before a single plant or tree ever evolved, it was these invisible microbes that breathed oxygen into our atmosphere. And even today, they're thriving in the most brutal, inhospitable environments imaginable. Superheated deep-sea vents, acidic pools, crushing beds of thick ice. Microbes represent this incredibly resilient stage of evolution that can survive almost anywhere. This right here brilliantly illustrates just how resilient life can be. Meet the tardigrade. These microscopic creatures can withstand extreme radiation, boiling heat, freezing cold, but, most chilling of all, they can actually survive direct exposure to the suffocating, terrifying vacuum of space. If biological life can adapt to that extreme right here on Earth, just imagine what might be hiding in the dark, hostile corners of other worlds. So, the crucial point is this. Since we can't exactly just put a microscope on a planet that's countless light years away, we have to act like cosmic forensic investigators. We hunt for what astrobiologists call biosignatures, basically indirect atmospheric fingerprints. We scan distant alien skies looking for specific atmospheric gases, chemical trails left behind by the breathing and biological processes of billions of unseen microbes. But we don't necessarily have to look all the way across the galaxy to find these suspects. We have prime candidates right here in the cold dark of our own solar system. Mars, for instance, wasn't always a dead desert. It was actually once a warm, watery world fully capable of harboring life. And then there are the shadowy moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Beneath their frozen, cracked, icy crusts, massive oceans of liquid water are churning in the dark. Microscopic alien life could literally be swimming there right now. But what if we aren't just looking for microbes? What if there is something intelligent out there, thinking and building in the dark? We wouldn't see their faces, but we would look for their technological footprints. Step 1, we try to intercept radio or laser transmissions, cutting through the void. Step 2, we'd scan atmospheres for industrial pollutants, smog from alien factories. Or step 3, we'd look for the eerie, widespread glow of artificial city lights illuminating the night side of a distant planet. To catch these signals, humanity has essentially set up a massive planetary wiretap. It's called SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. For decades, ever since the invention of radio communication, scientists have been pointing these massive radio dishes into the black sky, listening intently for electromagnetic radiation and laser signals, hunting for any whisper, any sign at all that someone is trying to reach out across the cosmic void. But despite all this time listening, scanning billions of frequencies across the galaxy, we have heard absolutely nothing.
Which brings us to a very unsettling question. If intelligent life really does exist out there, why haven't we heard from them?
This chilling silence is defined by something called the Fermi paradox, named after the physicist Enrico Fermi. It's the terrifying contradiction between the massive, nearly infinite number of worlds in the universe and the absolute, deafening lack of signals or visitors. It suggests something dark. Perhaps technologically advanced spacefaring civilizations are incredibly, tragically rare. Or maybe the universe is just so unbelievably vast that our nearest intelligent neighbors are unfathomably far away, lost in the dark, and completely out of reach. Which brings us to part one of our false leads, UFOs and UAPs. Because whenever we talk about the silence of the universe, someone inevitably points a finger back at Earth. Our feeds are constantly buzzing with shadowy government reports and blurry footage of things flying in our skies.
But let's look at the hard data here, systematically and impartially. There is a massive gap between public claim and scientific reality. People claim alien visitors are observing us or even abducting us. But the reality? Despite extensive, very public investigations by government agencies, there is absolutely zero concrete evidence of alien visitors. When you really break it down, these sightings inevitably turn out to be an unidentifiable blur on a camera, an unrecognized terrestrial object, or simply just a lack of good data. See, the real culprits behind these sightings aren't a fleet of advanced starships. It's us. It's human sociology and our own deep psychological desire to believe. When we look up at the vast, empty night sky, the thought of being completely alone, it's deeply isolating. Our minds desperately want to fill that empty space. And honestly, the psychological explanation for why we are so keen to believe aliens are visiting Earth is far more convincing than the abduction claims themselves.
Yet despite that deafening silence, the mathematical odds remain. 20 sextillion worlds. And because of that mind-boggling number, the investigation simply has to go on. We are relentlessly pushing forward. We're sending mechanical probes to explore the soil of other worlds, using powerful space telescopes to peer deeply into distant star systems, and keeping our radio telescopes perfectly tuned to the static of the cosmos, just waiting for a whisper. Every mission, every observation we make teaches us a little bit more about our cosmos and our fragile place within it. Now, we may have to sit with the reality of our current isolation for a very long time, but even if we never find them, even if this silence lasts for generations, in the sheer, unimaginable vastness of the universe, we are almost certainly not alone. Someone, or something, is out there in the dark,